Hey, everybody. I hope you're doing well as we are just about on the eve of the 4th of July weekend. Again, appreciate everyone checking in. And there were a handful of commitments I wanted to get to and give you my thoughts on that happened over the weekend. And again, just trying to get caught up with everything, especially before we get to the long 4th of July weekend. So I definitely wanted to touch on a couple of verbal commits that Illinois State received. One, actually, I was at Illinois State when this one went down. Max Ziebarth, a Normal West 2022 tight end DN kid, stayed at home, literally stayed at home, and gave the Illinois State Redbirds his verbal commitment. Really nice player. I had a chance to see Max live during the 2020 fall pandemic, actually more of the winter. I went to a 7-on-7 event that was held at the Louisville Slugger complex down at Peoria. And they have an indoor facility there, and was able to see Max and kids from Normal West, kids from Normal, kids from Peoria. So it was a nice event, especially in the winter when there was literally nothing going on. Nice to get out to Peoria and see some of these kids. And Max was one of the kids I got to see up close, and a lot to like. And I really like this commitment for Illinois State. First of all, it's never easy keeping an in-town kid stay at home to play for in your own backyard. So I think people just assume, especially in that normal Bloomington area, they just assume every kid that's getting recruited by Illinois State is going to wind up there. And it's a really bad assumption to make because, I talk to these kids, every day. I talk to kids about recruiting and their thoughts. And in more cases than not, you'll know right away if a kid wants to stay at home or not, especially a kid that lives in a quote unquote college town. Max was pretty okay with Illinois State compared to some other kids over the years that ended up leaving. I think Max played it smart. I think he was very open to the idea and the suggestion, but was also looking around at others. I know that he had a handful of schools that had offered and were showing interest in him. But again, under this current recruiting climate, I think Max made a really smart decision because he was another kid that was being told, well, we like you, but we want you to come camp with us. We want to see you in person. And that's great and everything. But if you look at what's going on with recruiting, especially in this 2022 class, and the same is going to be for 23. Once we get back from 4th of July, I'm really going to get into kind of what the landscape is going to look like with recruiting for 23s and beyond. Here's a hint. It's not going to be good. But the 22s in particular, there are very limited offers out there. I can tell you right now, if Illinois State isn't full by now, they got to be really close. And the same can go for a lot of the in-state FCSs. They're just between the COVID extra year, between the transfer portal, it's really been brutal on recruiting, especially at that FCS level, because they are able to get a lot of FBS higher level kids dropping down that will immediately at FCS level according to the NCAA rules. So it's, I guess, good for the FCS schools that they have more of a talent pipeline, if you will. Not good for high school and in-state recruiting whatsoever, and we're definitely paying it. So the fact that Max realized what was going on with the recruiting process and the pros and the cons, I think he made a really smart decision to lock up with Illinois State and to stay at home. Big kid, 6'5". When I saw him, he was probably around a 215, 220 range. Definitely more physically college ready now than we'll get into the Bubba Hubbard in a minute. But Max is going to be more of a traditional blocking on the line tight end, which Illinois State utilizes a lot, but also has some really good receiving skills and hands and tools. And again, he's a multi-sport athlete, and was just really impressed with him and impressed with the way he can go get the ball and is very tough in traffic and can outfight a lot of defensive backs and linebackers from the football. So really, really nice addition for Illinois State. And projection-wise, I had Max basically as an FCS level player. And again, he's getting to play at Illinois State at a high level in the Missouri Valley, an Illinois State program that, outside of the spring season, which is just bizarre for just about everyone, they compete year in and year out in Missouri Valley and also in the FCS championship. So again, nice commitment for Max Ziebarth, and the same for Bubba Hubbard over at Bartlett. Bubba, again, he's a little bit more different type of recruit. He's 6'4", probably about 260, 270. But what I love about Bubba is, first of all, he's a coach's son. Technically sound, fundamentally sound, does a lot of things well. Moves well. He's really got great bend, athletic, runs really well, and yet he has the frame and the build that he is going to continue to get bigger and stronger. I mean, honestly, the last time I saw Bubba in person, I looked at him and thought, this kid could go to 285, 290, really in a heartbeat, not gain a lot of bad weight, and carry that 290 really well. Again, big frame, big shoulders, wide. I thought early on probably more of a tackle, but you watch him move and watch what he can do. Illinois State offered him as a center, and I totally get that. So, again, especially at the FCS level, I think he's talented enough and would be flexible enough to play anywhere on the offensive line for the Redbirds. Great tape. Does a lot of things really well. Pass pro, very well. Like mentioned, his quickness, his feet. He's able to kick out, cut off the outside rush, strong enough to handle anything inside, and is going to get stronger. That's the exciting part about this, I think, for Illinois State and for Bubba, is that he has a long way to go. Physically, he still has a ways to go. I would say, you never say never, especially with depth charts and what's going on at FCS. Bubba could end up being a redshirt kid for a year, and I think it'd do nothing but benefit him. I think it would give him an extra year to get in that weight program, to really put on good muscle and good size. And I tell you what, with his ability, he can end up being a long-time player starter, I think, down the line for Illinois State. Just really, really like it as well. And I like the last couple of in-state classes. I think Brock Speck has done a really good job. He's gotten some good kids, and kids that in some ways have already kind of paid off from a recruiting standpoint and have been impact players. So hooray for the Redbirds. Two very good kids here in Max Ziebarth, the tight end out of Normal West, and Thomas Bubba Hubbard out of Bartlett, who's an offensive lineman recruited by the Redbirds to play center. So there you go, everybody. Just wanted to give you my thoughts on those two kids. And again, like what the Illinois State did here. And that'll do it. Have a great 4th of July weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.